Welcome back to our channel. What was supposed to be a calm, picture-perfect comeback has quickly turned into something much louder than expected. Katie Bates Clark just shared a soft beachside update meant to signal healing, but instead of focusing on the sunset and smiles, viewers are asking a much bigger question. Why does it feel like she's standing there alone? Let's rewind briefly to understand how we got here. Over the past few months, Katie has been at the center of a very public and emotionally charged situation involving her husband, Travis Clark. Reports of infidelity began circulating, followed by claims that the situation wasn't distant or private, but instead crossed into their personal home life in a way that deeply unsettled followers. At the same time, their online presence shifted dramatically from slowing down content to completely stepping back. And then came the sudden move to Orlando, Florida, which only added more speculation. The situation escalated even further during the now viral Resurrection Sunday moment, where a single photo triggered widespread backlash and pushed their private struggles fully into public view. Now, Katie's latest post appears to be an attempt to reset that narrative. The beach setting, the calm tone, and the carefully curated visuals all suggest a message of endurance and quiet rebuilding. On the surface, it's exactly what audiences expect from a couple trying to move forward after a difficult chapter. However, once viewers moved past the aesthetic, attention quickly shifted to something far more significant than the image itself: the reaction surrounding it, or more specifically, the absence of one. Because right now, the core of the conversation is clear. The lack of family support on Katie's post is telling. The Bates family has long been known for presenting a unified, highly supportive front, especially on social media. Their dynamic is not just personal, but also part of their public identity, where every post is typically met with immediate engagement from siblings. Comments, likes, and visible encouragement have always reinforced the idea that no one stands alone in this family, which is exactly why this moment feels so unusual. In this case, that familiar pattern is completely missing. Names like Carlin Bates, Josie Bates, and Whitney Bates, who are usually among the first to show up, are noticeably absent from the post. There are no visible comments, no public support, and no sign of the usual interaction that followers have come to expect. In a family where online engagement has always been consistent and immediate, this kind of silence does not feel accidental, and that is exactly why it has become the main focus of discussion. This absence has led to a wave of analysis across online communities, particularly on Reddit, where users are dissecting the situation in detail. One of the strongest theories is that the issue extends beyond the alleged cheating itself and centers more on how publicly everything unfolded. In a family where image, reputation, and presentation carry significant weight, a private issue becoming a public scandal changes the dynamic entirely. From this perspective, some believe that Travis didn't just damage his relationship with Katie, but also disrupted the carefully maintained image of the entire family, which may explain why there appears to be a quiet distancing happening now. Adding to this interpretation are subtle behavioral shifts that followers have started to notice. Kelly Jo Bates, who is typically very consistent in showing public support for her children and their spouses, has shown small but meaningful changes. One detail that stood out to many is the lack of a public birthday acknowledgement for Travis this year, something that would normally be expected. While it may seem minor in isolation, within the context of this situation, it reinforces the perception that something has shifted behind the scenes. At the same time, Travis's own interaction with the post, simply liking it, has been interpreted as maintaining appearances rather than addressing the larger issue. His presence is technically there, but it does little to offset the broader absence of support from the rest of the family. In fact, that contrast only highlights the imbalance, making the silence even more noticeable and, for many viewers, even more meaningful. Another layer to this situation is the nature of the support Katie is currently receiving online. While her comment section appears overwhelmingly positive and filled with encouragement, some observers believe that it does not fully reflect the wider public sentiment. Outside of Instagram, discussions are far more mixed, with some suggesting that the engagement may feel curated or controlled in order to maintain a sense of stability and positivity during a difficult period. Beyond the numbers and comments, attention has increasingly shifted to Katie herself. Many viewers are not reacting with criticism, but with concern, pointing out subtle changes in her demeanor and overall presence. Descriptions such as tired, muted, and not fully present continue to appear in discussions, suggesting that while the content may present calmness, the underlying reality may be more complex. When combined with the visible lack of family support, these observations create a narrative that feels incomplete and raises further questions about what is really happening behind the scenes. As a secondary detail, another question has also emerged. Did Katie delete the Easter picture? The Resurrection Sunday photo that initially sparked backlash is no longer visible, leading to speculation about whether it was intentionally removed. Some believe it was simply temporary content, while others interpret it as a deliberate attempt to distance the current narrative from that controversial moment. Regardless of the reason, its disappearance adds another layer to the ongoing discussion about image control and narrative management. Even in her latest post, Travis's role appears carefully managed. He is present, but not emphasized, not leading the narrative, and not positioned as the focal point. This subtle choice has not gone unnoticed and has contributed to the perception that the situation is being handled cautiously, with every detail considered before being presented publicly. At this point, what stands out most is the contrast between what is being shown and what is being perceived. On Instagram, the story appears calm, hopeful, and forward-moving, centered on healing and continuity. However, outside of that platform, the narrative becomes far more layered, filled with analysis, questions, and uncertainty. And right in the middle of those two perspectives is something that cannot be ignored: the silence. Because sometimes, it's not what is said that defines a situation, but what isn't. So now the question is simple, but important. What does that silence actually mean? Is the family choosing to step back temporarily while things settle? Or is this a sign of a deeper shift in their dynamic? And for Katie, does this moment represent genuine healing or just the beginning of a carefully managed new chapter? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I read every single one, and your perspective always adds depth to these conversations. And if you want more deep dives like this, don't forget to subscribe.